must come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say I am strong. Matthew, Matthews 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthews 24 and 7. For nation shall rise against nations, kingdom against kingdoms, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, the great millstone, preaching his word, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word, truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shabbat Shalom to your Akim out there. And this is another sit-down lesson through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And this is in the news on this June the 20th, 2022 at 11:27 a.m. Central Standard Time on this Shabbat, on this Monday morning in the a.m. And, this is a news article from RT.com for, another update of, wars and rumors of wars increasing more than ever, And this is published from RT.com, which is on June the 20th, 2022. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads from RT.com, China reports mid-course ABM test. The test was done within the country's border and aims to boost its defense, Beijing says. Right, I believe that's like 2 or 3 days after China in the area C where they're located at. I think they did like conducted a air carrier strike or something like that, I believe, which was 2 days ago, to boost up their military presence and be in competition with the United States as well too. Now you got this right here, which is recently 2 or 3 days after. Now you have, China reports of a mid-course of an ABM testing. And it says the test was done within the country's border and aims to boost its defense, Beijing says. And then you have a photo right there. It says a Chinese HQ-9 surface air missile launch during their military parade that they had. And it says China reported conducting a successful anti-ballistic missile test on Sunday, which was yesterday. A short message by the Defense Ministry said that the land-based mid-course intercepting test achieved all its objectives. The statement didn't disclose much details about the nature of the test, stating that only that it happens at night within Chinese borders was defense in nature. A total of 6 ABM tests has been disclosed by China since 2010, but all of them described as a mid-course counteraction. Beijing has announced the previous was in February of 2021. The term midcourse means that the missiles is engaged at the boost phase with delivers a intercontinental ballistic missile payload into space, but before the warheads re-enter the atmosphere, strikes the targets in the terminal phase. It says the U.S. ground-based midcourse defense GMD is meant to strike incoming missiles in space with an interceptor silos built in California and Alaska. Hey, so that goes back into the Joel 3 and 10. Let the weak side strong, because that's all you've been seeing in the news of lately. Of low key, in the news, haven't been really highlighted like that, because everything so much been highlighted on these different distractions and news with the Russia-Ukraine thing, with the economy and all that. But looking at the world news around the world, we're seeing these nations are making moves, because China, they just did their little ABM testing, with the nuclear missile testing and potential of ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile testings. You starting to see these nations are starting to get prepared for war, because and this makes a lot of sense too, because you've been having recently tensions been going on over there in the South China Sea. That's why you've been seeing China definitely been gearing up, preparing for these things. These nations are gearing up, preparing for these things. Just like Iran, they creating nuclear uranium as we speak right now, continuously. And these nations, as I brought down the book of Joel 3 and 10, let the weak say I'm strong. Because these nations are starting to show their military capability. Recently with the North Korea situation, South Korea as well too, India, Pakistan, Russia, continue with their nuclear missile tests, even though they're in the current situation with the Russia-Ukraine thing, and then you got tensions in Syria with that operation down there, potentially with Turkey coming up soon. And then you got the United States and Russia almost got into a collision clash with one another, So you got a lot of activities been going on in the Middle East. You got a lot of tensions increasing and building up of these nations doing joint military exercise drills, Navy joint exercise drills, war-like type simulation type drills, missile tests, and these missile tests definitely been increasing within these nations, especially with China and Iran, North Korea, South Korea that I just mentioned, and India and Pakistan, and these other countries as well too. They've been gearing up for quite some while now, and it's starting to build up of these nations, creating and fully equipping their nuclear arsenal. That's why you're seeing these events of simulation training type, missile launching types. They have missiles that can intercept incoming missiles from a long distance, as I was reading through the article of what China is developing and doing tests on that, anti-missiles defense, intercontinental ballistic missiles. They got the silos within Alaska, I believe, something like that. and close to Guam. So yeah, so China, they doing their thing, when it comes to the military defense, and these other nations as well too. Just like I mentioned with North Korea, not too long ago, recently, about a couple of weeks ago, in the month of May, early in May, I believe, they've been doing their nuclear missile tests. I believe this was their 17th missile test so far this year, you know. And the United States and South Korea, they had their counter attack of that as well too. Like, hey, y'all not the only ones can do it. We can do it as well too. We can be a threat to you as well too. Even though North Korea and South Korea, they trying to renew their relationships between one another, because they've been having animosity between one another for quite some time now, between the borders between North Korea and South Korea. So yeah, that goes into these nations are gearing up and preparing for war, just in case if anything goes down, and just in case they feel like their allies in their country that's in danger or imminent danger, or they feel like it's a threat coming their way. Hey, that's why they stacking up, piling up on these nuclear weapons and their nuclear capabilities, training their troops, if it's in the sea or the troops on ground training, because I believe it's going to be a full training. It's going to be between NATO and some other countries as well too, I believe. It's going to be starting this summer in the month of the end of the month of June and the beginning of July. So these just are prime examples of Joel 3 and 10 coming into full effect of let the weak say I'm strong, It's starting to show that these nations are gearing up, preparing for war. These nations are buying purchases, weapons, military equipment, developing nuclear capability to their collection of nuclear arsenal, upgrading anti-missiles, upgrading ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, upgrading their long-range, short-range missiles, upgrading their full military defense with the full training, full simulation trainings. Just like I mentioned in my previous videos of Iran doing their, Israel doing their full military training about a couple of months ago of a potential threat towards Iran, because they still look at Iran as a threat. So, that goes into these nations gearing up, preparing for war, and wake up the mighty man, because that's what we're seeing. We're waking up. You're seeing that these nations are waking up as the mighty man, which is recorded in the book of, rough to paraphrase, the book of Joel 3 and 9, We're seeing these nations gearing up and preparing for these things, Every time, I do sit down lessons and do updates about, these nations gearing up, preparing for war, they doing these full exercise trainings and simulations and a simulation reaction to a potential war with the nation, even though it's going to happen very soon, because we're getting into those stages of these nations that are fully gearing up, preparing for war. That's all you've been seeing, all these exercises and trainings and stuff like that, missile launch testings, anti-missile upgrade testings, so they could be able to counter and deflect any missiles that come their way from a long distance. They've been upgrading for a while, some time now, especially with the main nations like China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, So these things are going to continue to increase more and more of these nations building their nuclear arsenal and their nuclear capabilities. in their all-out full military training. To when that time comes, they'll be gearing up and preparing for war. You know. So with that, I hope this quick sit-down lesson was edifying on this update in regards to wars and rumors of wars increasingly in the news on June the 20th, 2022, on this Monday morning at 11:40 a.m. Central Standard Time. So yeah, these wars and rumors of wars definitely increasing in the last days, and expect to see it increase even more and more, because you're going to have wars and rumors of wars. This is going to be a rumor, might not be 100% true. Then you're going to have a wars and rumors of wars that's actually going to come a reality very soon, because we're entering those times and we're entering the stages of that coming very soon, as these things starting to develop, because we're living in, biblical prophecy times, according to the Holy Scriptures, So with that, once again, I hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And Shabbat Shalom. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Workar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and great millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And Shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say Shabbat Shalom and the ball.